Hello, Gale Tiger family, our 5th grade Hogwarts class. I'm so excited to be able to discuss this with you, saying that we are going back to school. I just wanted to give you guys a little video here to kind of go over some of the things that I put in an email to parents before, just so that you can hear it from me. Maybe I can help clarify with what I'm saying, but also give you a chance to comment any thoughts you might have or questions. So this is the classroom setup for those of you that are returning to be in school. We have been given the okay to have shoulder-to-shoulder students as long as we are all facing the correct direction, or one direction, which in this classroom is the front of the classroom. You may see at the front, each group at the front has their own set of cubbies. Each student in these sets will have 2. So for example, student on the left with the blue bin could get the top and the bottom cubby, and the person on the right with the yellow bin may get the bottom 2 cubbies. These are for their personal belongings, as well as using the inside of their desk. These cubbies could fit backpacks, these cubbies could fit their any binders or notebooks or things like that, but they will not share cubby spaces. For other students who do not have, I do not have enough of those cubbies, the students in the back will all get one of these bigger cubbies to put their belongings in at the back of the room. We feel that this will just help make sure that their stuff stays separate and does not mix with other kids' belongings. I have these little book bins that I'm using as their supply, so just to give you a little idea of what's in here. And for those of you staying remote, I will show you where you are getting these things. So the first thing is a chapter book. We are going to be doing a novel study to finish off our school year of Bridge to Terabithia. I've also placed some mechanical pencils in every student's bin. That's where you'll be able to keep your supplies as well as in that bin, and that way nobody can touch your pencils. All right, so inside this little bin is the novel study guide for the book, a writing grammar work packet, an IXL practice book, and a science reading question set. Okay, now these are pretty thick, pretty hefty packets. The hope is that those will last us the rest of the year. Those will be something that the students can use as independent practice. It'll stay here in school. It will not go home with them. But that way it reduces the amount of copies I have to make at a later time, and that way they all just have it. But also this is very helpful because I have students that are staying remote. So what I've done for those of you that are remote is I've prepared a binder that has those exact same packets. These are all in sheet protectors to help keep them organized. And this way, you as the parent of that remote student will only have to make one guaranteed trip to school to pick up supplies. Now there may be a situation where I say, hey, I just found this resource. If you are a remote student, I'm asking your parent to come get it. That may happen, but my hope is that I can make minimal pickups for you guys to make things a little bit easier. Okay, so that is how the classroom will look. That is how materials will be handled. If you are going to be staying remote, what's going to happen, and I showed the students this online, is I will be able to set up my laptop on this back table facing the rest of the class. So that way it'll feel like for them that they are just sitting in the back of the class, that they're in school with us. Okay, a lot of my work will be done on the smartboard, and if that's the case, if there's a day where we're doing that, I will probably start my Zoom off of the school computer and share my smartboard screen with them so they can participate in those notes or those readings or whatever is being done on that smartboard. I want to make the students who are remote feel as much as a part of the class as those who stayed in school or chose the in-school selection. It's really important that we help them feel like they're still part of that class, because of course they are. All right. The other thing, and don't mind my other binders, again, I'm setting up the binders for those remote students, but along the back counter here, you'll see the teal colored tape. Those are going to be individual student little rectangle areas that are taped off for their school laptops. The school is asking that we bring all of those school laptops back to school, and they will stay in school. I will have some surge protectors set up so that way they can be plugged into their chargers and just left on that counter every day. That way the computer stays safe. the computers stay connected to our internet, so that way we're not trying to try to connect internet every single morning, but also, along with the computers being safe, for staying isolated in our classrooms, but also safe in transport. We definitely don't want any computers having some accidents to and from school. The school will be giving free breakfast, lunch, and snacks to all students, including take-home snacks. And within those snacks, maybe drinks. And we just don't want any drinks mixing in a backpack with a computer, causing it to spill and damaging those school laptops. So school laptops will stay here the rest of the year. And those students that are in class will be able to grab and use those whenever we need them. If you are somebody who has your own personal computer, I am suggesting that ASAP you call the school and ask for a school laptop to be used. I do not want, and I'm sure you do not want, your personal family laptop going to and from school. And some of you are using desktop computers. Obviously, we can't have our fifth graders lugging around desktops everywhere we go. So please try to call the school, ask Miss Turkin or Miss Franks about computers, and try to get yourself set up with one. I do know they have extras, and they will do whatever they can to try to get you one. All right, so the sooner the better with that. Okay, so the big thing here comes our schedule. The schedule has had some changes. I just looked at another reopening document from our school, and the recess time has changed from what I saw last time. So I'm going to have to rework the schedule, but I'm going to give you some ideas of what things will look like. And this is my handwritten schedule. And sorry, I'm very old-fashioned. I like to handwrite everything first. But I just wanted to go over this with everybody. There will be some slight changes to the other days just because, like I said, the recess time has changed. But as I zoom in here on an in-class schedule, if you are an in-class student, this is what your Tuesday will look like. We are asking everyone to make sure we are patient with our arrivals at school. Breakfast will be served at 7:30, and students can bring and eat their breakfast from the school in our classrooms. Okay, and then they will sit in our classroom, eat breakfast, and while they are eating, I will be checking in with the remote students. But let's just focus on the in-class first. At 7:50, we will begin our math lessons, okay, remote and in class. And the first 40 minutes of that time will be the lesson from 7:50 to 8:30. And from 8:30 to 9 will be independent work time, where the students may be working on IXL, they may be working on some work pages or a packet, or maybe working off some problems on the board, but it's just some independent practice time. And then after that is a hand wash break. We want to try to include as many breaks as we can to institute hand washing to make those good habits become part of their daily routine. So after that short little hand wash break, kind of a stretch break as well, we will begin our Ela lesson. So again, this is Tuesday, so this is their PLC day, so this is why it'll look a little different. So at 9:05, we'll begin our Ela lesson. We'll do a 35-minute lesson. But then at 9:40, our students will break out into their specials rotations. Okay, and more information about those special rotations will be coming as far as if they will be going to a certain location with that teacher or if that specials teacher will be coming into our classrooms. So they'll have their big, nice, long specials break to be able to see those teachers. And then, of course, after that is a hand washing break, and they will head to lunch, which is from 11:40 to 12:20. The playground is open for business, so hopefully you saw my email where I did say the playground is open for business. Very important for our kiddos. They will have another hand washing break, and then at 12:25 we will come together and do read aloud. And this will also take place for those online students as well. They will tune in for a read aloud. And then on Tuesday, since our ELA lesson was interrupted, we will finish the ELA lesson at the end of the day from 1 o'clock to 1:35. And now at 1:35, that is when our remote students will finish. They'll be done for the day. And our in-class kiddos will then begin our hand washing, sanitizing, pack up for the rest of the day dismissal. So that is our Tuesday schedule. And now here's what a remote schedule will look like for Tuesday. And I will be sending a nice typed version of this. I'm just old-fashioned and like to write everything out first as I'm thinking about it. So as you see on this remote version, anything that's boxed and has a Zoom star next to it, you guess what that means then? That is a Zoom meeting. That is when our remote students will have to be on Zoom, okay? So at 7:40, I'm going to be asking that they all log in for attendance. Okay, so they'll be logging in. I'll be marking them present while the in-class students might be getting settled in with their breakfast. But then they will begin at 7:50 with the other class, with the in-class students, with our math lesson. Now at 8:30, when the math lesson is done, they have the choice to log off of Zoom and work independently, or they can stay on Zoom while they work, and that way they can ask for help if they need it, and I can get to the computer and help them. Then they will be asked to log back on at 9:05 for that reading lesson, just like the in-class students. And then they will also participate in those specials at 9:40. Those teachers will continue hosting Zoom lessons. And so they'll be able to tune in with them with Miss Laird, Mr. Woods, and Miss Reel. They have the same lunchtime, 11:40 to 12:20, and then they will log back in at 12:20 for attendance check-ins and then read aloud. And then once again, they will participate in that Ela lesson that continues from the morning block. And again, their day ends at 1:35. So they are free to go off Zoom after that. Now they may have some other tasks to work on at 1:35, but if they don't, they are free after that time. Now looking at the normal day, so again, that was a Tuesday. So Tuesday is our specials day. So here is Monday, Thursday, Friday, and as well as a Wednesday, which is the same schedule, we just end early. So very, very similar. The start of the day is the same. The only thing that's different is ELA will continue in the morning, going to an independent work block at 9:40, and then both groups will get a little silent reading block, just a little 20-minute silent reading time where our at-home kids can have their own books. Kids that are in school can bring their own books from home, or we could also access the EPIC website to read online. And then both sets of students will get a recess from 10:20 to 10:50, a 30-minute block, and then another hand washing time. And then they'll get an 11 o'clock to 11:30 asynchronous time. So this is where those students that are online can tune into a Zoom, or they can work by themselves. They may have some IXL tasks to do, some freckle tasks to do, quizzes, benchmark universe, just something to work on asynchronously, which just means, independently, but we're all doing the same thing. And for the in-class students, another washing hand break, which will take them to lunch. After lunch, they'll return and wash hands again. And then the end of the day, very similar, attendance check-ins, read aloud to both groups. But then on Monday, Thursday, Friday, we will have our little afternoon chunk, which will consist of a science, social studies, and writing lesson. Not all three, but kind of like alternating between those times. And so once again, remote will see that they have a block there to come in for a Zoom for that lesson. All right, and then once again, remote will be done at 1:35. The in-class students will begin their cleanup and pack up at 1:35. So again, this is just kind of my rough draft schedule here, just making sure that none of the other recess breaks or lunch breaks get any sort of random last-minute changes. And once I kind of get the go-ahead from Ms. Osoyo and the admin team, the leadership team, that these are our times, then I will be typing this up and sending it to you so you have a copy of it in a Word file that you guys can then access at any time. If you are staying remote, you will only get the remote one. If you are choosing in school, you will only get the in-school schedule. If you would like to request one of the other ones, I'll be more than happy to send that to you, okay? So that way, maybe if one of you have a sibling or a cousin or a relative who is the opposite of you, you can kind of get an idea of what my class will be doing, but every class is doing things differently. Every class's schedule is different. The way they're teaching remote versus in school is a little bit different. So don't just base what they might be doing off of ours, but that way you can at least get a little general idea of how the day is looking. Okay, so hopefully this information has been really helpful. Again, be on the lookout for some emails. I sent a big email this morning to all families, kind of with some ideas about what the leadership team is asking, Ms. Osoyo is asking, so I'll kind of hit some of those right now. Item number 1, our playground is open for business. So our kids will get to return back outside and have some breaks with their friends. All we ask is just the kids make smart decisions with what they're playing, how they're playing. right? We got the oldest group at the school in this grade level, so we hope that they make those smart choices, healthy choices, and safe choices. The other thing the email said was about masks. We asked, obviously, that all students wear masks to school, but then please also try to have some sort of lanyard, or sometimes they make little necklaces that can attach to it, so that way our kiddos aren't going crazy on the playground and lose it, or it falls off or out of their pocket if they took it off to run a lap or something. To have some sort of attachment to that mask. Okay, we don't want to have any issues with those. But then also to send a spare, clean mask in a Ziploc bag with their name written on it. So that way, if one of them happens to just let out a sneeze, of course it's allergies, they let out a sneeze into that mask and it just snuck up on them. We don't want them wearing a dirty sneezed-in mask all day. That way they can get a spare, and we would send home that dirty one in the plastic bag, letting you know, like, hey, give this a good wash, and send back another one the next day. So that's one of the big things there. As I mentioned before about breakfast, again, breakfast and lunch are free for everybody. So there is no need to send lunch to school. The only reason I would say send a lunch to school is if your child has any sort of food allergies or if your child has any sort of intolerances. Other than that, everything is free. Lunch is free, breakfast is free, and every student will be able to take home a snack bag every day, including Fridays, a large one that will last over the weekend. So that's a pretty awesome thing that gets to happen for us. It'll help you parents with your planning for lunches. It'll also help on the weekends too. If you are remote and have questions about those food pickups, call the front, ask for Miss Turkin and Miss Franks, and tell them you want to know how your remote child can get access to the food, to the free lunch and things like that. And they may be able to send you in the right direction for that pickup. Okay. There's not too many other things I wanted to get out on a video. I think I've taken enough time here, but if you have any questions, whether it be a question from my email or a question from this video, you either comment it on the video or you can send me an email, and I will do everything I can to try to help you out. Okay, we're in this together. We've gotten through it. I'm so amazed at how our kids have handled the last year. Whoever would have thought that we would spend one whole year virtual? It's a little bittersweet, honestly, for me to end our full virtual learning. A little sad. It's a huge chapter in my book as a teacher and my career, and something I'll look back on and say, wow, I can't believe I did that. So these kids have put a pretty special place in my teaching career and in my teaching heart. So I'm so thankful for their efforts and so thankful that they have worked as hard as they can during this time. So I'm so excited to see the students that are returning. And once again, I'm still so excited to see the faces of those students who chose remote. And we'll see everybody soon. Thank you guys so much for watching, and always feel free to reach out. So take one last good look at the Hogwarts room. Some of you guys will be in here very soon.